Hey guys, welcome to another time that we get to spend together for the next 30 minutes. Kind of set up here in my little makeshift studio. Hope things are going well with you. Hope your week was good. I hope you guys are staying safe out there, staying healthy. Your loved ones are staying safe. Everybody's staying safe. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to just spend the next 30 minutes, just talking about love and more love and what God's love is and how it's really meant to just flow through us and the different situations that we find ourselves in our lives going over and just not knowing why or the hows or the whens or the wheres. Especially in this time, as I always say and often say, we just don't understand why things happen. And it's so easy to blame God for everything and to just say, oh, God's doing this because of this or God's doing that because of that. And I just don't believe that. I believe that God is a God of love. God is a God of compassion, restoration, mercy, justice, yes, but just first and foremost, just love. That's the first characteristic of love. They talk about all these different traits of God, but the author says, but the very first and most important one of these characteristics of God is love. That He loves us. And He wants to see us through anything in our lives. He even wants to see us through the situation that we're going through. I know it's not lockdown. The stay-at-home order is affecting a lot of people. I know it's affecting a lot of my friends. I know a lot of friends who are out of work right now who don't know the situation, who don't know the future, who doesn't know what's going to happen tomorrow, who doesn't know what's going to happen the rest of their lives over this. I mean, this thing's going to have some pretty long-term effects for everybody in the world. Everybody in the world is going to feel the effects of this for a long time. There may not be a physical illness. It could be financial. It could be mental. They say that one of the hardest things it's going to take for people to recover from is that mental, stress of the unknown, of the situation around them, of that fear that this causes in so many people. I hear people who won't leave their homes because they're just so afraid to catch this thing that they're basically locked down in their homes, and they've been that way for weeks, and it's not healthy. Yes, we should stay home. Yes, we should try to help control the spread of this thing, but being at home, living in fear 24/7 can't be good. It can't be good for the mind. It can't be good for the body. It can't be good for the soul. It can't be good just can't be good. Fear is never produces any kind of positive outcome. I mean, it's just fear. And I know the devil wants us all locked up in that right now and struggling with that. And so today, speaking of being in fear and feeling like you're locked up and you have no way out, no recourse, there's nothing going to change. There's no hope in this situation. That's what a lot of people feel in their fear. Is just there's no hope in this situation. But I want to share with you a very profound story from the Bible that's just one of my favorites. It's just amazing. It's just how God took the physical prison and turned it into a harmonious song. That song led to faith, and faith led to salvation. And it's just a crazy story. It's the story of Paul and Silas in Acts. On a little backstory, they had been traveling, and just were, just hanging out, preaching the word, spreading the word. You know, they had just healed a woman who was able to tell fortunes. She started following Paul and Silas, realizing that they were the servants of God and that they should listen to Paul and Silas. So, you know, they get to the marketplace, you know, the magistrates, you know, people started chanting against them. And what really got in trouble is when this woman was healed, her owner realized, hey, I ain't gonna make no more money now. She can't make me no more money. And these guys ruined it. These guys ruined my business. They just ruined it. And so they drug him to the magistrates at the marketplace. And the magistrates had him thrown him in jail. And specifically, what I like about this story is that they specifically gave commandments to the guards to watch them carefully. And when they received the orders, they put them in the inner cell and fastened their legs in the stocks. So not only were they in prison, they were deep in prison. I mean, they were about as far into the prison as you can get. This was their version of solitary confinement. And not only were they in this dark inner prison room, probably no lights, no nothing going on, no hope. You know, they not only were in there, but the guards locked their feet together. So now they're triple. They're in prison, they're in the inner prison, and now their feet are shackled together and they can't even move. But what I love about this story is they didn't give in to fear. They still knew that no matter what prison they were in, how many times they'd been beaten, whatever situation they were going to find themselves in, because Paul and Silas and many of the early disciples, they faced a lot of hatred. They faced a lot of rejection and hurt and beatings and, you know, but they just kept pressing on because they just knew the power of God, and they knew that God loved those people so much that they had to go. Paul said, my life is worth nothing if I don't go and tell the good news of the gospel, which is that Christ loved them and Christ died for them and Christ rose for them. You know, and so, you know, the story picks up about midnight. Paul and Silas, they were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Now, I can just imagine these other guys locked up, and I'm sure prisons back then aren't like they are now. Yeah, prisons now are pretty horrible, but back then they didn't have 3 squares and a cot. I mean, they just basically, the prison was a hole in the ground with a rock over it. I mean, they weren't very sophisticated back then. And so I could just imagine what the other prisoners heard when they heard Silas and Paul begin to sing and sing to God. They're like, why are you singing? What? You know, you're here just like us, and why are you singing? Because they knew. They felt the love of God. They knew that even no matter what situation they were in, they were going to sing. And they were going to sing to God. And they were going to sing hymns. And they were going to worship God. And they were going to love God no matter what. And then all of a sudden, there was a violent earthquake that was so violent that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And all the prison doors opened. Now, here's the part that I really like. Here comes the faith part, you know, in the journey of this story. Here's Paul and Silas singing to God, locked up, feet chained together. Other prisoners probably mocking them, going, why are you singing? And all of a sudden the earth starts to tremble. And then all of a sudden the doors just blow open. Now, human nature would tell us to run, to flee, to hide, to escape. But that's not what the love of God does here. I mean, Paul and Silas loved God so much that they would rather stay in prison and worship and sing to God than to escape and fear God. So the doors were open and everyone's chains came loose. The jailer woke up, and when he saw the prison doors open, he assumed at this point, man, I'm toast. All the prisoners have escaped. I'm going to get killed. Caesar's going to have me killed. And I might as well just end it right here and right now. So he drew his sword, and when he was about to kill himself, Paul shouted, "Hey, don't harm yourself." Not only Paul and Silas were still there, but all of the prisoners were there. Can you see this? Can you see how much the power of the love of God not only affects us in our worship, but when we're worshiping and we're praising God in our love and in His love for us, man, it affects everybody else around us. Here are these prisoners, probably murderers, robbers, thieves, whatever they're in for, chose to stay instead of fleeing because they listened and they heard Paul and Silas singing to this God that just did this miraculous thing. They didn't know. They didn't understand why the doors were open. But they stayed because it clearly says, but Paul shouted out, "Don't harm yourself. We are all here." Not just Paul and Silas. Everyone. So when we're going through our moments, even in these times of COVID-19, and we're struggling with fear, start singing. Start singing to the Lord. Sing a song. He loves it when we sing to Him. Because you just don't know who's listening. Your family's listening. Your kids are listening. Your friends are listening. You know, God could take that moment of your pure joy and singing in this situation, and He can take that and He can drop that into somebody else's life. He's not constrained by these walls. He's not constrained by this world. He's not even constrained by COVID-19. God is way, way mightier than all of this stuff. And He loves it when we love Him and when we sing to Him. You know, the jailer it goes on to say that the jailer called for lights, rushed in and fell trembling before Paul and Silas. Trembling. Why did he fall trembling? Why? Was he thankful that Paul and Silas didn't leave and that he wasn't going to die? Or was he trembling because the love of God was so powerful in that moment, so powerful in that room that he couldn't stand? That he just fell under the weight of the love that was in that room. Because I'm telling you, when you sing in prison, when you feel like you're in a prison and you start singing, oh my gosh, the power of that moment is just absolutely amazing. It's incredible. It's incredible. So he brings them out and asks, "Sirs, what must I do to be saved?" Wow. The first question this guy didn't ask was, he didn't ask him, "Why didn't y'all run off? Are you crazy? You could have been gone by now. You could have been free. You could have been free men." But he didn't know that even though Paul and Silas was in this prison, they were already free. Free in the power of the love of God. Free. We are all free. When we love the Lord, and when we love His mighty works and His word, and we sing to Him, no matter what prison we feel like we're in, just remember, we are already free. God freed us through His Son's death and through His Son's resurrection. We're free. We don't have to do anything more to become free. We're free, no matter what prison we're in. And so they replied, "Believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and you will be saved, you and your household." Then they spoke the word of the Lord to him and took all the others in his house. And he took them and took him and told to all the others in his house. And at the hour of the night the jailer took them and washed their wounds, and immediately he and the household were baptized. The jailer brought them into his house and set a meal before him. He was filled with joy because he had come to believe in God, he and his whole household. It's crazy. It's crazy that this moment was so powerful that it not only saved one man, it saved a whole family. I can just imagine how many lives were touched down the generations because of that moment. Because Paul and Silas decided to stay in that prison and use that moment for God's mighty work and mighty hand. You know, it's just amazing. And now here's what I really like this story is the next day. It's crazy. The next day. So he brings him back, puts him back in jail, and I'm sure they picked up right where they left off, singing, worshiping God. The other prisoners, I can't even imagine what the other prisoners were thinking right now. You know, hopefully many of them gave their lives to the Lord. It's not recorded here, but I just hope that many of them said, you know what, I need to believe in that guy. That guy's got truth. Jesus has got the truth. I need to believe in that guy. So when it was daylight, the magistrates sent their officers to the jailer with the order, release these men. The jailer told Paul, the magistrates have ordered you that you go and Silas be released. Now you can go. Go in peace. So it's like the night before, they're doing the Lord's work. And along comes that pesky devil. And he says, I'm gonna make them hate these two, beat them, throw them in prison. They'll turn away from God. They'll turn away from their faith. This will be too much for them to handle. They won't be able to handle this. And so I could just imagine the devil all night going, okay, anytime now. You can stop singing anytime now. You can stop singing. Don't you realize where you're at? You're locked up. You're in a prison. There's no hope for you. You can't get out. There's no escape. There's no escape for you. The doors aren't going to miraculously open for you. The sun's not going to miraculously just appear. The rain's not going to just stop. You're stuck in this situation that I put you in. The devil didn't put him in that situation. God loved them to be in that situation. Because God knows much further down the road than we do. And God knew that jailer and his whole family was going to be healed because of Paul and Silas's faith to Jesus and their singing. So here they are locked up all night, and then in the morning, the jailers told him to release them and to go in peace. That's a defeated devil right there. When the devil has to open the door to that prison that you're in, he has to take out that key and open that little door and unlock that door and open it and says, go in peace. Man, and what kind of victory is that when you can make the devil to tell you to go in peace when you've felt like you've been in a prison, when you've been trapped, when there's no hope, and you sing to God, and God makes this way for you to use this to bless other people and to defeat the devil. I mean, can you imagine the devil having to tell Paul and Silas, go in peace. Whew. Oh my gosh, that's powerful. You know, talk about we sing victory in Jesus. Oh man, there's no greater victory in Jesus when you can make the devil unlock the door of your prison and you can make him say, go in peace. It's crazy. It's amazing. I mean, I just wish more people could just grab a hold of this faith in troubled times, because it just seems like as soon as something bad happens, we just immediately like, oh, woe is me. You know, nothing changes. Nothing. There's no hope for me. There's nothing gonna work for me. And then Jesus makes just a powerful moment in your life, and you just realize, man, I wasted so much time in that prison. I just wasted so much time listening to all the lies and all the just the names and the hurts and what people have thought about me and called me and just I wasted all that time. And now that I've gotten victory and I understand, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how we get locked up in our situations and how we feel like, oh, we're never going to get out of it. It's never going to end. COVID-19 is never going to end. We're going to be in our homes for forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And that's not the case at all. I mean, obviously this is going to come and pass. Yes, we're struggling with stuff right now and things are tough and it doesn't look very hopeful but I'm telling you, there's a God of hope that's sitting on the throne right now that says, this will end. This will. It will come to pass. And it is just sing right now. Sing when you wake up. Sing when you go throughout your day. Sing before you go to bed. Just sing to the Lord, and let that be just a sweet aroma to His ears. I mean, He just loves it when we sing, and that it's just crazy. Another story that I really like is the Mount of Olives, when the night before Jesus is crucified. He just, he was just shaking so much and sweating so much that his sweat was like blood, droplets of blood falling to the ground. And he made a most profound statement that I think sometimes when we're going through our moments and our trials and our tribulations, and here's Jesus. He fully knows what's going to happen the next day. Fully knows. We sit in our prisons and worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But in this moment when Jesus was struggling so much that his sweat was falling like drops of blood to the ground, he knew what was going to happen the next day. He knew he was going to be mocked. He knew he was going to be betrayed. He knew he was going to be beaten, severely beaten, to the point that he was unrecognizable. They pulled the beard from his face. They put a crown of thorns on his head. He knew that was coming. He knew the painful death he was going to die, the ridicule. But he makes this profound statement. He says, Father, if you are willing to take this cup from me. So in those moments when we're like, God, why am I going through this moment? Why am I struggling? Why is this happening in my life? What is going on? Here's the hope that Jesus found in that moment of sorrow, in that moment of this statement. Here's the hope that he found. He said, yet, not my will, but yours be done. Sometimes we don't understand what God's will is in all this. We don't understand why it's going on. But we've all already know the hope that's at the end of this persecution or this situation that you're going through. His will be done. Jesus teaches us to pray. They said, Jesus, teach us how to pray. And the first two words of it is powerful. Our Father. Jesus wants to be a father to us. Jesus is our Father. He is our Creator. He created everything. And He wants to use every situation in our lives, for the benefit of His love and His power. And I just want to end this show today just with some encouragement. I just want you to soak in Even when we feel like we're locked up and we feel like we're in this prison and we feel like we're never going to get out of this COVID-19 situation or whatever situation you're in, I want you to know what God really thinks about you. I want you to know. And it's from God's own, Jesus' own words, from his own mouth. This isn't translated. This isn't secondhand witness writing down. This isn't firsthand. This isn't, hey, I heard from a friend, from a friend, from a friend. This is Jesus' own words. He said the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. We are that treasure. You are that treasure hidden in a field. You may feel like you're hidden, but you're still a treasure to God. No matter how far we feel buried, or how far away we feel, or how far in that prison we feel we are, you are still a treasure to God. You know, when a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy he sold all that he had, and he bought that field. Jesus looks down on us, and he sees that we're so much of a treasure to him that he went and got the most precious thing to him, his son. And he sent him to pay a price so he could buy that field that you're in, that treasure is in. You know, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. We are the pearls, guys. We are. God is looking for those. And when he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. You know, so just remember, in these times of trial, in these times of separation, in these times of staying at home, in these times of fear, just remember, God thinks of you as a treasure. And God has sold everything that he has to get you, to receive you, to keep you. You know, you're a fine pearl. When God sees you, he went and sold everything he had, his son Jesus. Gave everything of himself to death so that he could be with you and that you could be with him. So just in this time of fear, just cry out to God. Say, God, I'm sorry for fear. I'm sorry for doubting. I know my life is in your hands, and I want your will to be done in this. Your will. You know? Help me to reach out to those who are at home too. Help me to reach out to my elderly friends. Help me to reach out to you. Help me to tell more people that you love them in this situation. Do that this week. Find somebody. Zoom somebody. Text somebody. Call somebody. Do whatever it takes. Let them know how valuable they are in God's eyes. I mean, we are just that treasure in that field. And I just pray you guys have a great week this week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Hopefully in the next few weeks, you know, we can start to see some kind of normalcy coming back. But you know, like somebody said that I read once, let's not go back to the old normal. Let's make this new normal even better than before. You know, let's help rewrite the world's alma mater, which is discord at this point. Let's rewrite that alma mater into a beautiful harmony of voices when this is all said and done. Just remember, we love you here at East to West. God loves you. Will always love you. No matter what we're going through, God loves you. And just have a great, great, great week, guys.